What's up, everybody? My name is Noah Santiago, or as I am known here on YouTube, Weird Concept. And today we have a pretty dope video. Today you will be watching me ink a drawing that I have on my sketchbook. I will be inking it digitally. And today you're going to be able to watch my whole process on how I do that. And hopefully you're able to learn something from it. And hopefully you'll be entertained as well. So let's get on with it. As you can see, as you saw right now, you saw my sketch, but now I am inking it digitally. And that tends to be the way I ink my drawings. I am not a traditionalist. I used to use, microns and all those pens, which are amazing. However, I've gotten, I would say, very complacent and began to do things digitally because it's so much easier. I love it and I don't see myself changing it anytime soon. So this is my process, And the program that I'm using today, or to finish this project, is Adobe Fresco. I love Adobe Fresco. If you guys have not tried it, I highly recommend it. It's free. The reason I use Adobe Fresco is because it allows me to use a vector brush. And if you guys don't know what a vector brush or vector graphics are, pretty much if I draw something with vector graphics, I will be able to scale that drawing, whatever it is, 10 times, 100 times, and I won't lose quality. You won't see no pixels. That's what happens when you use Procreate. Don't get me wrong, Procreate's a great program. I still use it quite often and I love it. But Procreate uses raster graphics, and because of that, if you scale a drawing or a painting, whatever you do on Procreate, if you scale it 10 times, 100 times, or even scale it down, you're gonna see pixelation or you're gonna lose quality. So since I don't want that, obviously, I want my art piece to look as clean as possible for any types of prints or stickers, I'm gonna use vectors so I can scale this bad boy as many times or as big as I want.
What do you mean by that?
But enough about the programs. As you've been watching my process here, the way I go about it is normally I have a pretty rough sketch, right? Or I put enough details, so I definitely have a guideline of what I'm gonna ink up. And when I start inking, I start adding way more detail than I did in my sketch. Normally, I add more detail, but I never really add anything new or change up the drawing from what it's already kind of, it's set to be. I mostly just add detail, some shading, or like as you saw with the whale, you see a little bit more. Those details to show the lines and stuff.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Yeah, so right here you see me doing some animals, and let me give you some backstory on why I chose to do a whole ton of animals and a boy in the center. So this drawing was inspired by my son. My son is the boy in the middle. The boy in the middle represents my son, and all the animals that are surrounding my son here are animals that at some point in time he was fascinated by and he still likes to impersonate. So as you can see, I have a bunny, I have a penguin. Sorry, right now I'm doing his eyes, but as you look at the image around, there's a bunny, a penguin, a turtle, a frog, a whale, an octopus, and a pig. So at one point in time, my son was fascinated by these animals. He would impersonate them, make their animal noises. So I got the idea, and actually I'm not gonna take credit. My wife, my amazing beautiful wife, she had asked me to do a drawing for my son, and she's like, why don't you draw him turtles, because he's into turtles lately. And that's how this drawing started. It started with a turtle, and I was like, you know what, why don't I expand it and do all the animals he's been interested in. So I that was my goal here. I did this image surrounded by all the animals that he at one point in time was fascinated with. and it's a lot of fun. I'm not a huge on drawing animals, not because I don't like it, I just don't do it. But drawing all these animals, it kind of opened me up to a whole
Big pause.
set of topics and themes that I can draw, and it was so much fun. In this art piece, my favorite animal that I drew, I think it was the whale. I love the way that whale looks, and the penguin. I think the penguin is so cute. I was like, dude, I have to draw a penguin. And the reason, actually, a little backstory, the reason I drew a penguin is because my boy loves to impersonate penguins, and he does this thing when we tell him waddle waddle, because penguins waddle, where he does this like stanky leg type of thing. It's hilarious. But yeah, so just to give you some more insight on this, my inking process. Originally, my plan was just to ink this and ink it pretty basic, like not go too crazy in detail, and then paint it or color it and add detail with color, right? But as I was working on it, and then I did the penguin and I did the boy's hair in black, added those whites, kind of got started thinking. I was like, man, you know what, this looks pretty sick, just the way it is right now, black and whites. I was, you know what, I'm gonna commit, let's go black and white. And I love the way it looks. It gives it a very manga like style feel, so I'm digging it. I think I'm just gonna commit to this. But if you guys are interested in maybe seeing a painted version of this, let me know, and maybe I can make a video about it, and just show that. But like I mentioned before, I made this painting for my son, and the end goal for this painting is to make it into like a t-shirt, make some stickers, or make a poster or something. For sure, make it into a t-shirt and gift it to my son. I've made t-shirts before, but I wouldn't say they were very cool, I guess, or like baby appropriate in a sense. So I wanted to make something that he could wear and like be able to show my art through him. I hope that doesn't sound too like conceited. I just always wanted to make something for him that he could wear. I've done it before, and my wife has worn my clothes, and it's so awesome when I see her do that. But I was like, man, I want to make something that maybe my son would love to wear and he'd be happy to wear. So I want to make this t-shirt for him, and I'm just so excited to get it done and be able to go to that next step and hopefully create a product out of this. But yeah, as you can see, I've inked up the animals here, and now I'm working on the boy. And man, I had some trouble with the eyes. I didn't know what kind of expression to emote, and to me, the eyes are a huge part of that, right? They're definitely a huge part of like the type of emotion you want to show in your characters. So my inspiration for his eyes here, and kind of gave me like some guidance, was referencing the manga artist Junji Ito, who I think is one of the greatest manga artists of all time, behind Kentaro Miura, Berserk. Goated manga. If you don't agree, freaking fight me. Yes, I use Junji Ito as my reference to Junji Ito's art as my reference to kind of figure out what kind of emotions I wanted to evoke from the kid, right? And I noticed that Junji Ito uses eyes, draws eyes to show emotion heavily. He draws eyes in so many different ways, and every time you see it, you know exactly what that character is feeling. So I try to use that concept here, and you see the child, he looks kind of scared, surprised, and my intention is not to make the child look like that in a sense. It's more just to be like, whoa, I'm surrounded by all these animals. This is crazy, right? Like, so that's kind of what I went with it. But yeah, I was so happy that I was able to find some type of reference and how to make the eyes look. And I'm happy the way it came out, you know, for someone who struggles drawing eyes, struggles to draw the human face, honestly. I think it came out okay, and I'm proud of that. And here I got my little boy, the pig. I've never drawn a pig before. You know what? Pigs, deceivingly tough to draw in my opinion. That was just me though. I know someone else might have a different opinion, but dang, I couldn't get it right. But I think you get the gist here. You know, it's one of the good things about having the art style that I have. It's very cartoonish, and I guess I could get away with a lot of things. Like, fortunately, I've become consistent enough in my style that when I struggle drawing something, it looks like a stylistic choice. So I'm gonna keep going with that. Definitely gonna keep practicing. Don't trip. That's why this journey's here. That's why I'm doing this journey on YouTube. I want to get better at drawing. But in the meanwhile, it's my stylistic choice. Don't tell no one. But anyways, here I started to have some fun. You see, I drew these animals, and I started realizing, like, man, it's cool to have these animals, but I feel like they need some type of personality. Like, they're just animals, right? Let's add something to them. So as you saw before, my penguin, I gave my dude a little bow tie. You know, it looks like he's wearing a little tuxedo. That was my wife's idea. Gotta shout her out there. And for the bunny, I thought of a monocle because I don't know why, it just makes me think of Alice in Wonderland. So I was like, yep, this bunny getting a monocle. And then for the frog, I got inspired from like seeing those Japanese art pieces where there's like a frog smoking a long cigarette. So I was like, well, I'm not Japanese, but a pipe, maybe a pipe would do. So I drew a pipe. I think it came out pretty cool. So yeah, my boy right here, he puffing some smoke. But yeah, so I gave that dude that pipe there, and I feel like the wood, man, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it because if you look at it from a distance, it looks like wood. Don't zoom in on it. All right, if you see this art piece on my Instagram, don't zoom in on it. Imagine it's wood, because it is. But yeah, so I didn't go too crazy on that, and then I drew some smoke here. You'll see the end product. I had a little bit more detail. Right now it's just kind of like a placeholder, just to kind of give me an idea of how I wanted it to look, in a sense. So then I started thinking like, okay, I got my penguin who looks like a little tuxedo. He has a little tuxedo, I mean. I got my smoking frog, the whale. I was like, what can I do with a whale? Oh yeah, let me give him a little heart because they're just so friendly, you know, they're so nice. And then this pig, I gave him some glasses because like something to kind of give him an aggressive look, because he looked angry. As I drew him, I was like, man, I drew this pig angry. But I gave him little glasses, you know, kind of look like a hog, like a biker hog. And unfortunately, if you saw right now, you'll see some more detail added to my drawing that you didn't see like 2 seconds ago. And that's because my camera died while I was drawing, and I added way more detail to my animals, and I didn't catch it.
Bruh.
The turtle right here was got a bandana and a hat. I made him look like a straight vato.
Summer days just sitting around, but when the sun goes down, I'll be ready to party.
I don't know why a turtle, but I was like, man, that looks kind of cool. So I'll run with it. And also, I drew a monster truck on the boy's t-shirt. Reason being, my son loves monster trucks. He is obsessed with them. Monster Jam, Hot Wheels, whatever it is, he loves them. So other than the animals representing like the animals that he likes, I was like, well, he needs something else, and that's monster trucks. You see my boy, you think monster trucks. That's how much he loves them. And yeah, so I drew that and on his t-shirt, and I'm happy how it came out. You know, like I think I didn't go too crazy on the details on it, but I think it definitely shows what it is. And you see that t-shirt, you're like, that is a monster truck, and that makes me happy. Like I mentioned before, I did go all black and white with this, so I decided that when it came to the shading, I was just going to use some grays in this area and just, you know, gray out the areas that had more shadow, and I did that for the entire drawing. And you know, added some highlights here and there, but overall I am happy with the way this came out. You know, I think it looks pretty good, and if you want to see the end result, here it is. I'll show it to you right now. Well, that's the end of this video, and I want to thank you if you made it this far for making it this far. I hope that I was able to entertain you, you know, with my 20-minute rambling, and hopefully you were able to learn something, you know, just from watching me ink this drawing and the way I use Adobe Fresco as opposed to Procreate. And if you enjoyed it, definitely leave a like and a comment. That'd be great just for the algorithm, you know. And if I've earned it, you know, definitely subscribe and just be on the lookout for more content, because I am really trying to be way more consistent on here and hopefully create a proper schedule and a routine. But again, thank you guys so much for joining me today, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.